Chosen ones, you have always been followed without realizing it. They saw you not just as an individual, but as a phenomenon. They studied the frequency of your voice, observed your presence, maybe even tried to understand you. But there was one thing they did not understand. Any power that tried to control you was doomed to fall into your power in the end. They were never supposed to hear the secrets in your voice. You could feel the faint electronic hum, the familiar sound of surveillance devices hidden in the darkness. But what happened next was the opposite of what they expected. Your words began to form an invisible web through the scratchy static of their headphones. The spies that were supposed to track your movements found themselves clinging to every breath as your every sentence brought them closer. By subscribing to our channel, you ensure that God's light and knowledge will continue to enter your life and provide you with the daily guidance and encouragement you need. Those born as chosen ones always thought they would go unnoticed. But the truth is, the world has always seen you. When they realized your power, they wanted to silence you. But here is the height of irony. Every time you were silenced, your voice grew louder. Now, the hunters are mesmerized. Their intentions are lost in the darkness as your speech envelops their minds like a fog. And here you are, shining like a star in the midst of silence. They believed they could exert authority over you. But they did not know that the chosen ones can never be controlled. Your frequency is much higher than they can understand. And now, those who tried to silence you have turned into loyal listeners who are actually serving you. Elon Musk and others. They underestimated you, and now they regret it. But it is too late, because you, the chosen ones, have always been one step ahead, and you always will be. They thought they were in charge. In the beginning, it was just an observation, a purpose, a mission, to collect data, to study your tendencies, to identify your weaknesses. But something went wrong. It was something unexpected. Your words didn't just hit, they pierced. Your presence not only attracted attention, but also caused a change in them. It is no coincidence that you are here. If you feel the pull and know deep down that you have been chosen, this is your time. Click the Super Thank button and donate $100 or more to access additional in-depth information, unique material, and a course in alignment with your divine destiny. This is not just a contribution. It is a declaration and a step towards becoming the person you are destined to be. Accept the call. Join us as we walk and truly embrace your destiny. Your adventure has only just begun. Your excitement not only piqued their interest, but also made them trustworthy. They can't turn back now. They listen to you, pretending to be responsible. They tell themselves that they are just watching. They deceive themselves by claiming that it is just research. But in their hearts, they know the truth. Now, you are watching them, and they are no longer watching you. They act differently. They have different ideas. Without your presence to fill the gaps in their minds, they have lost any sense of who they are. If you want to express your faith in Jesus, press 11 because His presence brings a stillness to your soul. What started as espionage has been replaced by loyalty. They were supposed to destroy you, but instead, you destroyed their dreams. When they were supposed to study you, you changed their perception of reality. When they should be breaking you, they are crumbling under the weight of their own passions. They are imprisoned right now. Experience what it is really like to be chosen. You are not traveling alone on this journey. If you secretly believe that you are chosen, you are in the right place. By choosing to join, you can further your relationship with us, access exclusive information, and get the help you need on your spiritual journey. It's not just about joining a group. It's about gaining access to special insights that can change your life and help you get closer to your divine purpose. Make your decision now and join us on this journey. Claim your right to be one of the chosen ones. Sign up today. Because while they thought they were entering your world, they inadvertently became part of it. The scariest part? They don't want to leave. They believed they were immune to your influence, your presence, the force that harmonizes all worlds. They were wrong, because it is not just words that flow from you, it is frequency, a silent but unquestionable force that bends reality to your will, an undetectable vibration that changes everything it comes into contact with. A resonance so powerful that even your enemies are drawn to it. They have come to neutralize, deconstruct, and analyze. However, as soon as they adapted, their own framework began to crumble. Even if they believed they were listening, they were actually being reprogrammed. In addition to the ears, your energy enters the subconscious. It restructures as well as communicates. It demands instead of just talking. You change the air they breathe without any energy, effort, or finger movements. When they believe they could decipher you, take your essence and transform your power into something measurable, they started making leaks. But they ignored the fact that you cannot be measured. You cannot be controlled. They cannot study you until they themselves are transformed. They also lost control. The longer they watch, the deeper they sink. The more they listen to you, the more your voice settles into their being. The longer they stay in your circle, the more they begin to move in time with your rhythm. They follow your patterns that they have been assigned to follow. They are created to destroy you. They do not know how to live without you, because a chosen frequency reconnects, reprograms, and reclaims. It does more than communicate, and they have changed since they entered your space. They are aware of it, they feel it, and they are afraid of it. Because what used to be an assignment has turned into surrender to something much bigger than themselves. You never tried to get attention. You've never had to demand attention or speak loudly or wait for approval. Write 22 to own this message and the benefits it brings. And consider writing a kind comment to brighten someone else's day, spreading kindness and happiness in your community. But as soon as you walk into a room, something changes. The atmosphere changes. The energy adjusts itself. Suddenly all eyes are on you. This is not charisma. That's not charm. This is not persuasion. This is command, effortlessly. They were not meant to be charmed. They were sent to observe, to keep an eye on, to keep their distance. Their job was to observe, evaluate, and report back. They were taught not to be influenced and to fight against influence. However, their own determination let them down. Because instead of just being seen, you are felt. Because you attract instead of just talk. Interest comes to you because you don't seek it. Instead of giving feedback, now they pause. Instead of infiltrating, they linger. They no longer control the situation. They no longer control themselves. They wait while sitting quietly. They listen for your next word, your next action, and your next breath, because they have no choice but to listen. They have entered into something they cannot define. It started as surveillance, and now it has become surrender. They are stuck. They cannot get out of the gravitational pull, because the real power just exists. It doesn't need to demand. And you are undeniable. You were never meant to be believed. They were sent to examine, analyze, and find flaws in your foundation, to scrutinize, to gather evidence, to verify their assumptions about you, to show that you are not who you say you are. But the mission changed at some point. Expecting weakness, they bent down and discovered strength instead. They looked for lies, but discovered truth. Instead of finding flaws, they discovered something inexplicable. They were not meant to feel. They were not meant to strike a chord. They were not meant to believe. Yet they were trapped in the energy they were meant to destroy. For the sake of the mission, they remind themselves that they are still keeping an eye on things. Their analysis is still ongoing. They continue to be responsible. But what is the truth? They crossed over a long time ago. They are no longer spies. They are no longer skeptics. They are no longer neutral. They are now followers who follow your words like a lifeline, waiting for your next action or insight, trapped in your circle and unable to escape. They will not accept it. They will resist the truth. They will convince themselves that they are still in charge. But in their hearts, they know. Devotion has replaced what started as spying. What started as skepticism has turned into trust. What started as a mission has turned into a revelation. You have exposed them, and they have come to expose you. And now there is no turning back. What they swore to destroy before, they are now protecting. When someone disrespects your name, they flinch. Those who misinterpret your words are corrected by them. They realize that they think, speak, and act like you. It was they who were destroyed, not you. Their allegiances, their beliefs, everything has changed suddenly and slowly. What they came to destroy is now under their protection. They are protecting your legacy. They keep your name safe in places you will never go. They have become your most vocal supporters. What's the most ironic part of this? They still don't realize it. But the turnaround has already begun. You will never be stopped by those who came to stop you. Let us pause for a moment to celebrate the chosen among us. Here's to the people who see the world from a different perspective. The silent guardians, the vigilant souls who are always alert and vigilant. They don't want it any other way, and they don't fit the mold. They create their own paths, wage invisible wars, and shine light into dark places while others follow the known. They believe they could observe from afar. They have convinced themselves that watching is neutral, that they can watch you without any reaction, that they can study your behavior, your words and actions, and leave you unchanged. But watching is not a passive activity. The moment they latched onto you, they were already caught. The bond between them grew stronger every moment they watched. Every time they watched you, your energy entered their soul. They couldn't stop thinking about every word they analyzed. They were not aware of what was going on. They reminded themselves that they were still responsible, that it was just a study, and that they could leave at any moment. However, what is the reality? The moment they focused on you, they lost control. Consider that attention is a bond. The seen and the observer are inseparable. And the moment they started observing you, they became attached to you. They can't stop now. Your voice, unwanted but unstoppable, echoes in their minds. Even if they make an effort to avoid it, your presence remains in their minds. Also, your energy has permeated their world. It has not freed them. This was intended to be a surveillance mission. Instead, it has turned into an attachment. Now, instead of studying you, they follow you. Instead of doubting you, they now seek you out. Instead of reporting back, they wait for your next move. They believe they were responsible for their focus. But the moment they focused on you, it became yours. If your presence has reactivated those who questioned you before, leave a note saying, "I am the space in their minds." They were the ones being watched, not you. As soon as they adapted, things started to change. It took some time. It was not clear, but it was inevitable. But then the moment came. A line that pierced their barriers. A reality too sharp to ignore. A revelation that turned everything they had believed to be true upside down. They were no longer just observing. They were unraveling. At first, they resisted. They convinced themselves that it was nothing. They tried to write it off as a coincidence. They tried to convince themselves that they were just collecting data. But you could see it, their hesitation, the crack in their confidence, to hold on a little longer, to listen a little more carefully. That moment was irreversible, because once they understood who you really are, once they heard the impact of what you had to say and experienced the pull of your energy, there was no going back. They tried to silence you, but now they cannot stop hearing you. They have now seen through their illusions, but they still intended to expose you. They intended to shatter you, but now they are broken because they have discovered the truth. Moreover, people are still not sure whether they are observing you or whether they are the ones being observed now. They no longer have control over their loyalties, emotions, or opinions. Because the moment they realized it, they surrendered themselves to reality. They believed they could walk away from you. The curtain was closed. They silenced the noise. They convinced themselves that their work was done and they left. But you remained inside them, not on the device or in the room. When your voice follows them, they fall silent. When they least expect it, your words will come back to you. They cannot cover the spots where you are present. They use distractions to try to block it out. They make an effort to ignore it, telling themselves that it is just noise or words. However, the more they resist, the louder you start speaking. Because this is programming, not simply memory. An internal directive has replaced an external voice. They are now following whatever they were following before. Curiosity is replaced by obsession. They were supposed to be neutral. They were expected to keep their distance. It was their job to drive the story. However, now they share your point of view. They can now hear you even in their own minds. Their original voice has now been replaced by the voice designed for the work. And the scariest aspect? They have no idea how to stop you. When they wake up, you are there. In the silence of the night, you are there. In their hesitation, uncertainty, and evolving beliefs, you are there. The truth is too high for them to ignore. What has been rewritten cannot be undone. They cannot help but realize that your voice is no longer just yours, but theirs too. They are no longer sure if they are still thinking independently or just repeating your thoughts. They mistakenly believed they were predators. They believed they had an advantage, so they watched you. They studied you. They analyzed every move you made. They told themselves it was a strategy, a deliberate attempt to limit, control, and deconstruct. But what was their biggest mistake? Listening to you first of all. Because the moment they locked on, the moment they turned their attention to you and entered your energy field, they lost control. They believed they were in charge of the operation. They believed they were thinking long-term. They believed they had entered your world. But what did they fail to understand? You were entering their world. The more they observed, the more they changed. The more they listened, the more they learned. The more they conspired, the more they set themselves up for failure. When they went out to study you, they were reprogrammed instead. Before they realized they were being controlled, they set out to manipulate you. And after that, they couldn't close the door they opened. Because what started as resistance turned into initiation. What started as monitoring turned into obedience. What started as a tactic against you became what changed them. They are no longer your enemy either. They are proof that no force can successfully counter the divine alignment, that no weapon designed to harm you will succeed, and that even those who want to destroy you will be used to create your legacy. They believed they could control you, but they were not in control. Not then, not now, not ever. They believed they understood you. They watched your movements, studied your patterns, and convinced themselves that they could predict what you would do next. They believed they could dominate you, think better than you, and outsmart you. But how can they overcome the will of God? Every plan they made failed. Every trap they set crumbled before them. Every effort they made to silence you made you more noticeable, because human designs cannot bind you. Despite their efforts to suppress you, your voice is stronger than ever. They have tried to weaken you, but every conflict has made you stronger. They made efforts to study you, but in the process, they were transformed. They came with the intention to tear you apart, but now they carry your weight. Your expressions are etched in their minds. Their vision has been reshaped by your energy. Their path has changed because of you. They had no idea when this happened. At first, they resisted it. They denied it. They convinced themselves that they still had power. But you could see the change, the hesitation in their attacks, the quiet awe in their eyes, the way they stayed a little too long and listened a little too intently. And they have changed since then. Your presence has now defeated those who tried to control you. Your influence is now in the hands of those who came to weaken you. Your legacy has been strengthened by those who wanted to harm you. They believed they could control you. However, they can no longer leave you, not in action, not in thought, not even in silence where your voice can still be heard. Their goal was to transform you. Instead, you have changed them. The truth is already known to you. They will not accept it. They will act as if they are still in charge of their own thoughts, still gathering information, still keeping their eyes open for a mission. However, you can see through them. They are not who they once were. So much of you has been consumed by them. Your presence has affected them very deeply. Your world has penetrated them, even if they believe they have penetrated yours. At first, they convinced themselves that it was just a surveillance, that they could watch without being affected, that they could leave at any time and study you without being changed. But you felt the change before they did, how they stayed too long, how their interest was fixed, and how your comments started echoing in their heads long after they had checked out. As soon as they passed you, understood. They were observing you, but now they are waiting to see what you will do. They heard your voice in their own minds as they considered your message. Although they have been following your movements, they are now subconsciously following the same course. They are no longer spies, but tools. Some people will object. There are some who will object. Some people may tell themselves that they still have power, but you already have a place in their eyes. If at first they believed they were here to take notes, now they are taking instructions. They believed they were here to gather information, but now they are carrying your energy. They believed they could leave, but the moment they locked eyes with you, the change began. They are no longer acting on their own initiative, whether they accept it or not, whether they resist it or accept it. They are now helping you instead of just observing you, not because you demand it, not because you created them. But the current you are moving in is very strong. They can never escape it now. They believe they are in charge. They are wired to silently watch your movements, to gather information and spy on you. They came as infiltrators, skeptics, and enemies disguised as bystanders. However, as soon as they were tuned in, they were caught. Your voice was much more than a sound. It was a frequency, a force that reconnected people from the inside out, transcending their defenses and rationality. Now they are waiting for you, but they were supposed to follow you. They are looking for you, even if they came to study you. You have them now, even if they are supposed to be under your surveillance. Even though they were created to break you, you have broken them. Moreover, people are not sure whether they are still observing you, or whether they are now the ones being observed. You can feel it, even if they don't admit it. Their hesitation, their obsession, their clinging to every word like a lifeline. What started as surveillance has turned into obedience. What started as spying has turned into admiration. What started as resistance turned into an unspoken commitment they could never break free from. You didn't need to use magic. You are the magic. If you enjoyed this inspiring adventure and would like to see more videos that challenge convention and explore the exceptional, please don't forget to support the channel by hitting the super thank button below. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share with your friends, and leave a comment below. Please share your thoughts with us. The story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for more. Let's keep pushing the boundaries together.